Afternoon. My name is Steve Legakis. This is my submission for the iTech 6900 Senior Capstone for Middle Georgia State University. My presentation is going to be on the new camera array that I designed, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to apply this new camera array and see how it would succeed, or how likely it is to succeed out in the wild, using diffusion of innovation. I'm going to apply that to it, and let's see how the the camera rates, or how it would possibly succeed. Um, my problem I have is people like this gentleman right here will come into an event. This is actually taken from an event that I went to. The guy walked in, sat down in front of me, and just obviously set up a tripod and was serious about recording the whole event. And my suggestion is to um, have a camera array. What you would do is you take this camera array, and people would walk in, and this is a flow chart of how the thing would work, the application itself. Up here you have the stage, you have the audience, you have the camera array. Now, when people walk in, they will be issued an IP address, or basically they'd be issued access to one of the cameras in the camera array. They would go to their seat. They'd use their Wi-Fi enabled device. It could be a phone, it could be a tablet, it could be anything, and they would be able to directly manipulate the camera that they've been assigned. This would include pan, tilt, zoom, snapshots. So they could track the movements of the stage. If they had a particular person that they wanted to record, they would be able to do this very easily from their phone, or like I said, their Wi-Fi enabled device. So it's a fairly simple idea. So the person connects to the Wi-Fi. There's a switch that communicates to the array, the individual camera in the array. The audio and video output is recorded on a server, and at the end of the event, depending on, I had two different options. One would be a permanent, or like a stationary. It really didn't move, um, application. And then you'd have someone that could just walk in with a camera array, stand it up on end, and start issuing IP addresses, or access to cameras to individual users. And at the end of the event, the person could either download it from the cloud, depending on the application, or they could wait and receive a CD or DVD in the mail down the road, or have the student pick it up, or they could come back and get it, whatever the arrangement was, the predetermined arrangement was. So this was the basic idea behind it, was to eliminate people like this from being in front of you holding up tablets and that kind of thing. So now we're going to apply the diffusion of innovation to this application to see what the likelihood of its acceptance is going to be. The definition of diffusion of innovation is, one, acceptance. Users and individuals who are going to either accept or not accept this particular innovation, that's the key, is acceptance. Either it will or will not be accepted. Over a period of time, the more time goes by, the hope is that this application would be more and more accepted, of the specific item or idea or practice, by individuals or groups. Basically, what you're trying to say is, you're wanting to know if a particular invention or idea or principle is going to be accepted by the masses, and if so, how long will it take for that idea to diffuse or propagate out into society. So with that in mind, we can break that down into different types of people. You have innovators. The innovators make up a very small percentage. They are the people who are going to have this device no matter what. When we started this project, this class, I put a video out, a proposal. It was basically just a generic proposal, and there was positive feedback from our class. But you've got to keep in mind that our class is comprised of innovators and early adopters. We are the leading edge of IT. We are going to most likely be the ones to buy or buy into a new idea or a new concept. So I was excited when I first heard the positive feedback. Yes, Steve, it's a good idea. I'd like to see how this turns out, that kind of thing. And again, in the context of this classroom, there was very positive feedback. So you look at our group and you say, okay, let's look at Google Glasses. That's one example that keeps coming back to my mind is Google Glasses. How many people have Google Glasses? I'm guessing of all of us that watch this video, probably no one knows anybody who actually owns a pair, even though I'd like to own one, but I'm not going to spend the money for something that is not going to have a good personal return on investment for me. So you got your early adopters, and they make up the opinions, the leaders, the trendsetters, they're adventurous. I would put the majority of our class in this group. I myself are more along the early adopter for almost any technology, cell phones, TVs. The 4G TVs are out, the curved round TVs are out. I'm not buying one just because it's out. There are a lot of people in this innovators group that do buy things just because it is new, it is cool, that kind of thing. Then you have the early majority. And right here, if you look on this chart, you see the early majority. You hit a critical mass for an innovation. These people have not really succumbed to peer pressure, but they're like, nah, everybody else is doing it. I'm going to go ahead and do it too. So in most of us are like I said, closer to the early adopters. So this makes up the majority of the people out in the world. And then you have people like my dad, who is a laggard. He's isolated, suspicious. He has no interest in changing. He worked for AT&T for 30 years, and he has no idea why everybody's so excited about cell phones. Why can't we just go back to landlines? It makes no sense to him. He's got a cell phone. It's a flip phone. It's a little Nokia. It's one of the old ones. And even he has trouble managing it. So he is definitely what I would consider a laggard when it comes to technology. So how do I know how do I gauge the possibility of success with this kind of a device? I have chosen to interview Middle Georgia State University personnel who are in charge of the audio video on the campus. And I had an interview with, I'll just say Sean Bohannon, John, and Jeff Marshall, and they are all in charge of the audio video stuff on campus. Had a long conversation with them, and I found out that they're I told them, just be honest. I need to be honest. I don't need you to sugarcoat it. Tell me what you really think. So I broke it down into several categories. Usability. You've seen the video. I made them watch the video so that they understood what it was what I was proposing. And the first thing that they came back with the usability was the video quality. There was concern that the cameras that I had proposed using were not of high enough quality to really do a good job of capturing the event. There was a bit of concern there. Their idea was increase camera quality. Well, when you increase camera quality, you increase the fiscal investment, the financial part of it. You make it more expensive. So right out of the gate, there was a money concern for me personally. I was like, okay, well, if I do that, then I've got to increase the money that it's going to cost, and ultimately that cost has got to propagate on to the end user. Ease of use, that was another big one. The Middle Georgia State University has many venues. So if they spend a lot of money and have like I said before, there were two kinds. You had a permanent, like mounted from the ceiling type, or you had a roll in, set it up type of application. They were concerned that, okay, so now I bought 100 cameras or 500 cameras or 1,000 cameras. How do I move them from venue to venue? How hard is it to get from point A to point B? If it's stationary, then I have to have two sets of everything. So again, we came back to money. How expensive, how many cameras are they going to need now to make this work, this application work for them? And portability, basically, how if it was the portable version, could an intern set it up, or do I have to have full-time staff come out and set it up? Can an intern just go out there, roll it out, you know, plug it up, and it's just start working, or do I have to have somebody with a little more experience get into it? And if that's the case, then again, you're into a financial situation. Acceptance. Sean basically told me, he said, Steve, I have recorded these events, graduation and other events, and we have put these things for sale and for download on the internet. And he said, honestly, I don't think we've sold 20 copies of this in the bookstore at $5 a pop. So you're looking at a return on investment that's very low, possibly. Even if you double the number of users that actually buy into this, you're still nowhere near return on investment over a reasonable amount of time. So again, it comes down to money and acceptance. So my conclusions, well, all I did was look at Middle Georgia State University. I did not go out beyond Middle Georgia State University just because of time constraints. And I would have to say I do not believe that many universities would buy into this particular thing. Another piece of research that I found was state institutions like colleges or prisons or institutions that like anything with the state, they are usually going to be laggards anyway. So by virtue of the fact that they're laggards and this is going to cost money, I would have to say that there's not much of a possibility that this particular application is going to be accepted. There could be other clients, there could be other possible individuals who would be interested in this kind of thing. But as far as universities, the answer is most likely no. Now, the upside. While we were talking, I was given a positive. There was told to me, well, if you could rework it and do this particular camera or this set of cameras, they're going to be more expensive, but you need fewer of them. And then the people don't have to, there's no need for people to get involved at all. They can just buy whatever they want to buy after the fact. So there was a possibility of taking this particular project back to the drawing board and revamping it and applying what I know now to a new application, an even newer application. So that's basically what I've got. In the end, it looks like the camera array, while everybody, including myself, thought it was very interesting, I don't believe that in light of the diffusion of innovation principles and the interviews that I've done, that it's going to be widely accepted. Again, I appreciate you taking a look at this video, and congratulations on coming to the end of your senior capstone class.